the question is basically, there are many businesses that maintain, but often some of them, they fail to expand because they never master the concept of leveraging credit, whether that be personal or business credit. So, Mark, if you will, can you provide a specific example of when you effectively leverage credit to conduct business, and why did you choose credit versus cash, if you will, in that instance? Because a lot of businesses are cash strapping it, if you will. So if you could just give us a specific example where you've been able to take advantage of credit properly in a business format, if you will.
Yeah, this is an interesting question, and you alluded to. I don't know how much this is ever really discussed when we're talking about business and entrepreneurship in general, because it probably is not deemed as sexy as a topic, but I think it's pretty sexy my damn self. I mean, it's something that you need to understand, to your point, to be able to do things. So let me think about an example, or give an example, I should say, that can illustrate it. So Money Motivation Brand, the company, it will go into its fourth year the middle of this month, actually. And it started in 2017. At the end of the second year of the company, we were doing about 10 to 13 grand per month in sales. And we got stuck there for about 4 or 5 months. We were stuck at that, around that margin of sales. So the first thing I had to do, I said, all right, let me figure out why or what in terms of the primary levers needed to drive more sales, because we just had benchmarks of keeping to double the sales, so we wanted to get to $25K per month as the next target. So I had to figure out what the levers were to get to that monthly sales mark. And what I determined is that with 3 levers. It was website visits. We needed more visits to the website. Second, it was conversion rate. How many came, how many converted to sales. And then third was the average order value, or number of items and revenue per order that did occur when somebody made a purchase. So to drive those, we needed to make an investment. And that investment needed to be in marketing to drive more website traffic. And it needed to be in inventory, because we had to make sure we had the inventory on hand for the inventory needed to fulfill that volume of sales as they came in, because it would be an increased volume. So in doing the math based on historical sales and investment in those areas, I determined that if we looked over a 3-month period, we needed about a $30K investment, and that $30K investment would generate $75K in sales, so about $25K a month. So if we just looked at that $30K investment that was needed, 3 options to do it. I could self-fund it, which up to that point I had done entirely. I had self-funded the entire launch of the company and the operations of the company up to that point. Second option was to give out equity to somebody who wanted to invest in the business. I had several people who had asked me about it in starting the business and when it was going in the first 2 years. And the third option was to do some debt financing or business financing. So my thought process was this. I didn't want to give out a small piece of equity. I don't like the idea of giving up a piece of ownership or control to somebody else, even if it's a small piece necessarily, when I don't have to. Because I could have self-funded it, so that wasn't really an option. Self-funding it was on the table, but I preferred to stay liquid. So we had a proven track record of sales. I could predict that we were getting, based on what we were currently getting, that if we invested 30 grand, we could generate about $75K. So the better option was to debt finance it and stay liquid with my own capital. So I went and did 2 things. Got a line of credit that could be accessed monthly for working capital. And then the second thing I did was go to one of my banks that I had a relationship with, got a short-term business loan for a little over $30K. Invested that money in the marketing and inventory. And within 3 months, we hit $25K per month in sales and climbing, and we haven't looked back since. So that debt financing drove business growth. We had predicted sales. We understood the math, and we invested it in the right place, and we hit that mark and climbing at that point in particular. In 3 months after that investment was made, we hit $25K per month, and it kept increasing after that. The other thing to point out about that scenario that I think is important from my perspective is I tend to be more of a risk taker than most people. And I don't like money sitting idle. So I had the cash to invest it, but I don't like keeping a ton of cash. So even though I did the debt financing in this example, and I chose not to self-finance, I still took my own cash and put it in play in other areas of the business and or other investments. So I put that money in play that I had to generate some type of return, where essentially now I had 2 potential lines of future revenue that could be generated versus one. So the advantage for me of choosing the debt financing in that case is I had two lines, my self-funded money that I can use places, plus the debt financing to put in place to get some type of return.
Yeah, that's beautiful. So you're basically creating two streams by not sitting on the cash, because I would have assumed you didn't use your cash and would have sat on it and kept it liquid. You stayed liquid, having access, but then you put it to work. So beautiful, beautiful example.